it's like, why should you have a platform if you're not willing to if you're only going to fight for what benefits you and you're not going to fight for others and what's right?
Welcome to another episode of Yalla Let's Talk. Today we have a very special guest with us. You might know him from reality TV show on Netflix, such as The Mole and the winner of Perfect Match. He is someone who has used his platform for social good, and we are very honored to have him with us today to talk about why you need to speak up and why every content creator, influencer, and anyone with a platform needs to start speaking up. Welcome to Yalla Let's Talk, Dom.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you. I'm excited. This is an honor, a pleasure. I don't usually do a lot of podcasts, but I feel as though your platform and everything you stand for as well is important, and it's important to bring awareness to what we're about to discuss today.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you saying that our platform is all about changing the narrative, and you are someone who is actively changing the narrative. And I remember seeing you on Perfect Match, and I think a lot of people who have seen you on reality TV show and have been fans, including myself, are now seeing a different side of you, which is more on you're not just an influencer, you are a human being who is speaking out and trying to make the world a better place. First question I wanted to just dive right in is, you are now speaking out a lot about what's happening in Palestine and Gaza. What made you want to speak out about what's happening in Palestine?
I think what a lot of people don't know, and you can look back to any of my socials, I've always been somebody that's spoken out against injustices, even before the shows and even when I didn't have a massive platform. It was just what I was raised on. My mom raised me and my brother watching movies like Roots and showing us about the oppression that my ancestors and Black people went through from a young age. So that already stuck into me, this mentality of fuck the oppressors from a young age. I've always been against authority, and I grew up on Rage Against the Machine, so yeah, whenever I see an injustice or someone being oppressed, whether it be my people, another group, whether it be women, whether it be queers, it's I'm gonna say something. Whatever I can do, because that's the point of being a human. You know what I mean? If you want a better world, you can't think oh, I'm just one person, I can't make a change. If every person thinks that they can do something, even if it's something tiny, that accumulation builds up and we can all make a difference. So
I love that. I love the fact that you said that, because you're right. If we all keep saying okay, we can't make a change, no one is going to do anything, and we're just going to stay stagnant, and the world is going to stay where it is. But if we all start speaking up and using our voices and advocating, it becomes a collective movement. And something you really touched upon, which is this idea of collective liberation. It's when we're talking about free Palestine, we're talking about liberation for everyone as well, different oppressed groups and different ethnic groups.
Exactly.
And you're also someone who actually is going to these protests and encampments. Can you tell us your experience? What was your experience like going to these protests and encampments?
I think it was, for me, it's important to go to these things. My thing is always keep that same energy, and it's always important to not only repost and reshare and use your platform, but to also educate yourself in person, and most importantly, just listen. And I think it's important to go. I thought for myself, and I think it's important for anyone to go to these protests and just put yourself in the same atmosphere as these people, and to truly empathize and truly know what they're going through, and feel that energy of just and going to these protests is most importantly just listening to people's stories and educating myself. And you hear about these people who they have family that are in Gaza, and I was speaking to this woman, and she said that her family in Gaza were telling her to stay strong, and they're so happy that there's protests going on over here, and it's giving them hope. And I was like, what? That's insane. They're getting bombed and having to evacuate their family and their country, and children are dying, and they're looking over at us and being your protests are giving us hope. Even the privilege that we have to even fucking protest is insane, So it's just putting the things that I've learned there is just listening and educating myself and just getting hearing it from the source, from, if that makes sense, and the
Absolutely.
encampments, and just listening to people who are more educated than me, because there's a lot of propaganda online, and sometimes you have to go to the source and learn.
I appreciate you saying that. I think listening is where it starts. And thank you for being an ally to the cause. My follow-up question is, what made you learn about Palestine?
I think, like, taking accountability. Back in around September, I didn't really know anything about Palestine or what was going on. And like a lot of other people and creators, protests were being set up, and I was online, and somebody said, where do you stand on Palestine? And I was like, oh, I don't know what's going on, and then obviously with social media, you're scrolling and you see these videos and these photos of children dying. And I remember I made a post and I was like, which I think, like, even if you're not educated on what's going on at the time, like when you see what's going on, like I said, I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like I can't give you a political take, but I'm a human, and there's children that are dying. And the very least I can do right now with the knowledge of the situation I have is give people resources to help the children that are dying, to help these families that are going through this. So I think that's where it started, was like I saw that children were dying, and I was like, okay, this is what I can do now, is give these resources. And over the course of time, I took the time to go to these protests and go to these encampments and educate myself. So it all started from a place of ignorance, of not knowing, but I think it's important for anyone that doesn't know to take the accountability. I didn't know. The internet is there. People are here that know about the situation. You can, if I'm able, like I said, like I'm a dumbass. I'm a documented dumbass. On my show, I thought Alaska was a country. I thought a papaya was a carrot. Like, I'm an idiot. So I'm like, if I can take the time to educate myself and go to places to learn about what's going on around the world, I think anybody can. So,
well, I appreciate you mentioning how you came about. And I think a lot of influencers, you see them on social media. I won't name who, but they're going to be saying things like, I'm not informed about the subject. I'm not informed about this issue, and therefore I cannot speak about it. Whereas you're saying, hey, there's so much information out there, and if you just listen, you'll know. This is not about a political issue. We're talking about human lives and children that are dying.
Exactly.
And bro, you're not a dumbass. You're one empathetic, compassionate dude. But I appreciate how humble you are, even just saying like, hey, I don't necessarily know what is going on, but it doesn't stop me from advocating and from still saying free Palestine.
Yeah, I think, having a platform, whether it's, a platform that's bigger than mine, that's bigger than mine, smaller than mine, I think having people that follow you, that listen to your words, I think only using that to benefit yourself is inhumane. You know what I mean? It's like I have this luxury of, I'm able to turn away from these things. I have this platform where I'm able to profit off of these people that follow me if I want to. You know what I mean? Getting brand deals. If I have a product, I can't like create a product like and be like, hey, buy my product, guys. You follow me, you guys like me, buy my product. And people buy my product, and then they turn around and they go, hey, I'm a fan of you, but people are dying. What's your take on this? And I'm like, you know what I mean? It's like actors being like, when they went on the Screen Actor Guild strike, and they're like, guys, we as actors are not being paid enough, so we're going on strike, and you guys have to be on our side because we're not getting paid enough. And it's like, okay, well, okay, I get the Screen Actors Guild strike. You guys want more pay. What about Palestine? Oh, never. What? What'd you say? It's like, are you fucking what?
Yeah.
Like, when you guys have something that benefits you, and you want to speak out, and you want to fight against this, oh, we need more of this, we need more of that. It's fine. The world has to stand with you. But now when people are dying and they're like, hey, will you come to this protest and stand with us now? And you turn a blind eye to that, like, it's like, why should you have a platform if you're not willing to if you're only going to fight for what benefits you, and you're not going to fight for others and what's right?
Yeah, well said. Well said. It is selective activism. It's like they're going to pick and choose whatever fits their agenda. And when it's something that they're like, okay, maybe it's not impacting them as directly as they think it does, they're just gonna turn a blind eye to it.
Exactly. It's like, and it's not hard. It's like, it's
Yeah.
not, I look at these celebrities or even these massive influencers that have, like, I'm an influencer. I know how much you make off of a brand deal. You know what I mean? I'm Canadian. I don't get paid from TikTok. I don't get paid from views and stuff like that. But I know how much Americans do make.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, a lot of people can just pay for these families to get out of these situations, and it wouldn't hurt them at all. But they won't even do as much as just share a link. And like, I hate being that person, like, oh, you don't have to call people out, you don't have to do that. But at the same time, it's like, but at what point, you know what I mean? At what point is it like, okay, this is enough? Like, it's been 7 months since, it's really come to light. You can't use the excuse of like, oh, I'm uneducated. I don't know the right thing to say. It's not my place. I'm just an influencer. It's like, I saw online the other day, this girl that I know, Ayami, shout out to Ayami. She's from the UK. And there's this guy named Yuval, right? Who is Jewish. And they both said they both have this like online banter, and they want Yuval to go to the UK to meet her. And they went online and he said, I'll go to London to meet this girl, but I need everybody that follows me to just donate $1 to this family. They need 30 grand, just donate $1, $5, whatever you can. Like, if you have $1,000, donate 5. If you have less than that, send me $1 to my Venmo and I'll transfer it over. In less than 24 hours, those two raised $30,000.
Amazing. Wow.
So it's like, don't tell me that, oh, I'm an influencer, like, what can I do?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? They just helped a family, like, they just saved a family, get them out of Gaza and restart their life. Just two of them in less than 24 hours. Imagine if we all did that. How many families we could help and how many families you could save. So you can't use the excuse of, oh, I'm uneducated. I don't know what to do. Don't pressure these influencers. Don't do this. What are they good for? It's like, what are these celebrities good for? What are they going to do? Wasn't Kim Kardashian able to, when she was into prison reform, get into a room with Donald Trump to get people free from prison? Like, that's influence. That's power.
Influence. Yeah.
I can't get into a room with the president to talk about something, but these celebrities can. So it's like, you see what Angelina Jolie's doing. It's like, why can't Beyonce do that? You know what I mean? Why can't Jennifer Lawrence do that? Why can't this person do that? It's like, it's time to just to call people out and to fix these issues.
I appreciate you saying that, because a lot of times we just kind of let celebrities be like, oh, you're a celebrity, you're not political, just continue doing your art. But then at the same time, when we're talking about what's happening right now in Palestine, we are looking for people with influence to start raising awareness and to use their platform to actually make a change. So it's like they say, with a great power comes great responsibility. And if you choose not to use it, it's a little irresponsible.
Yeah. And my mom raised me on this, and every time I make it, she's always been this moral guide for me, my mother. And she's always told me from a young age, like, she's always been like, you've always been like, fuck authority. And she's always raised me on, every action has a reaction. Everything you do, every action you do has a consequence. So she's like, if you choose to speak out against this, if you choose to look at someone and be like, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to do this instead because that feels right to me. Like, for instance, like, there was something that happened recently, and like, with me speaking out on God, she's like, if you speak out on this, you understand that this might create a rocky relationship going forward with you and this company, right? And, you have to think about the relationship that you're going to have with them and the things that they can provide to you and do for you in the future. But if you don't speak out, then you have to think about, is that right for you? Does that feel good in your heart? Like, you're going to have to deal with the consequences of people looking at you and being like, it's weird that you talked about this, you didn't talk about this. Like, and my mom goes, well, what's more important to you? You know what I mean? What's the consequence that you want to receive? So for me, it was like, fuck the company. Like, I have to speak out about this. The consequence of me doing that is I'm not gonna work with this brand. I'm not gonna make this money. That's my consequence. But I'd rather deal with that consequence than deal with the consequence of my conscience eating me alive because I didn't speak about this thing.
Right on.
You know what I mean? So
respect.
it's just about choosing the consequences. Like, and it's like, if as a celebrity or an influencer, like, if you choose not to speak out about something, the consequence is, which is happening now, people are gonna call you out. They're gonna get upset. They're not gonna buy your products. You're going to see a decline in viewers, and people are going to rant, and they're going to speak about you negatively, and you're going to be like, well, it's not my place. Like, why are you getting mad at this person? It's like, this is the consequence. This is
Yeah.
the action and the reaction of things.
I love that. And first of all, that's really solid advice from your mom.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to start off with saying that. And then the second is I like how you intertwined it because you're like, okay, you had to pick between either the brand deal and then your conscience. But then at the end of the day, if for people are coming to you for who you are, for your authenticity, for your moral conscience. So if you compromise that, it also will compromise other things as well. And my question to you now is a lot of influencers and celebrities are thinking that. They're thinking, hey, I'm going to lose these brand deals if I start speaking up. And we see that. We see a lot of people were cut from brand deals. What advice would you like to tell these influencers?
I think it's like, what are you actually losing in terms of brand deals? You know what I mean? It's like being able to receive brand deals and work on things like that is a luxury in itself. It's like I came from working at a warehouse. So my mentality has always been like, I have a forklifting license. Like if this influencer stuff falls apart for me, I just go back to the warehouse and I'll make $30 an hour. You know what I mean? I'm fine with that. What I'm doing right now is a luxury. So I think it's always important when you complain like, oh, I'll lose brand deals and I'll lose this. It's like that in itself is a privilege. That like what you're gonna lose, oh, I'm gonna lose tens of thousands of dollars. People can't afford to live right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have people that follow you that will ride for you. You know what I mean? That if you speak up against this thing, they'll be like, well, we're not going to stand for this product. We're going to boycott them. The same thing that happened to Starbucks, that's happening with McDonald's, is happening with all these brands. I would just say it's like, what are your morals? Like, what are your values? Like, what do you stand for? Are you a human being or are you a billboard? That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. And if your option, if you're going to choose to be a billboard, then people are going to see you as that. And guess what? Nowadays, people don't really fuck with billboards. You know what I mean? So it's like where do you want to stay on the right side of history? That's it at the end of the day. And if you choose to not speak up and then not say anything like that, then at some point you're going to have to face the consequences of that decision. It might not be now. You might get that brand deal. You might make that money. You might make this. But eventually people are going to look back and be like, okay, this person never said a word about this situation. And now when you say, hey, guys, I need you to do this for me, everyone's going to be like, why would we do that for you? You know what I mean?
It's a solid point, and I like that. That's like a solid quote. I'm a human, not a billboard.
Yeah.
And humans feel. Humans are compassionate. They see suffering, they'll act upon it. You're not just there to just make money. And I like the fact that you called it and labeled it as a privilege because yeah, a lot of these things do happen to be a privilege, especially when on the other side of the world some atrocities are happening, and we kind of see that dystopia right now, especially. I think the Met Gala really highlighted it. You see a lot of people coming in with these extravagant outfits while it's literally at the same time people are getting slaughtered across the world in Gaza.
Yeah, and it was like, I remember someone made a video because I don't give a fuck about the Met Gala. Like I don't give a fuck about fashion. I think all that shit is very elitist in itself. I thrift everything. Like I don't really like fuck with that side of, influencing or creation. But I remember seeing this video of like the concept of the Met Gala this year, which was like the Garden of Time, which, I might be wrong on this. But they were saying the story, and it's like it's like we have to be living in like a dystopian thing. Like you can't write this. And the concept of the Garden of Time was like this story of this wealthy family, this wealthy couple, and they have this garden, and every time they pluck a petal or a rose or something like that, it slows down time from the lower class coming to get them. Like the lower class coming to get them, so they would pluck a rose, and time would slow down, and they wouldn't be able to get them until they're out of petals to pluck, okay. And the lower class can take them over. And I'm like, and the Met Gala was happening on the same day that they rejected the ceasefire, and it's like, you can't the irony. That's like peak irony in itself. You know what I mean? And that the Met Gala was the moment when everybody was like, wait, this is, what are we doing? Like we're online, people are dying, and we're ranking out $75,000 outfits that these celebrities are wearing that we're not invited to. We'll never get to go in that room. We can't even see what they do in there. This private function that they're donating to a charity. What's the charity? Like the costume department of a museum. That's insane. And not one of them has spoken up about what's going on. It's Hunger Games. It's like we're actually watching Hunger Games. It's like people even in the Western side, it's like people can't afford. People are seeing it. We can't afford to live. We could barely afford, 3 meals a day and rent and paying our bills and then overseas people are dying. There's a literal genocide happening, and then people are dressing up in $75 outfits and just being like, oh yeah, we're going to dinner with all our rich friends. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, fuck. It's actually crazy to just think about that contrast. So many people dying, genocide happening in Gaza. Like you said, even in this part of the world, there's still a lot of disparity when it comes to like economic wealth. Not everyone, most people are not living that high life. And then to see us just glued to our TVs trying to rank outfits, it's a little crazy.
It's insane. I remember being on TikTok and it was like I saw a Met Gala TikTok, and then I swiped, and it was literally a woman in Rafah on top of a building showing the missile airstrike happening right behind her, and being like, "Please repost, please help." And I'm like, this is fucking insane.
It is, and you know what? This is what.
Sorry, am I allowed to swear? Sorry,
it's all good. Swear as much as you want. But what I find interesting as well is that if you notice that Israel always will carry out its most horrific actions when there's something happening in the media, like the Met Gala. So when this is happening and all eyes are on that, then that's why we keep saying all eyes on Rahav, because we need to keep looking at that and not to get distracted with other things. Yeah. So Dom, I really appreciate you mentioning your perspective, especially when it comes to what's happening right now. And it is a dystopia. Like, it really is the real life Hunger Games. Like, we're in different districts and so many things are happening right now. And right now, again, we're going back to, should influencers speak up? Now, we talked about them trying to lose, or them losing brand deals. But right now on TikTok, there's the block celebrity movement. Mm-hmm. Should we block celebrities and influencers that are not speaking up?
I think, yeah. I think I was kind of, when that whole movement was going on, or it's going on right now, it's kind of like, it is what it is. If they don't want to speak up, then they don't speak up, and, fuck them. Like I said, they deal with the consequences of it. But then I thought, the consequences, people are going to get fed up and they're going to fucking block you. And as they have the right to, the exact same right that you have, if you don't want to speak up, if you don't want to say anything, the people that consume your content, that consume whatever you want to say, if they choose, I don't want to see this anymore, and they choose to block you, then that's their right, and I'm fully on board. I'm like, fuck it, burn. Like, I remember I made a post actually like 2 months ago, just randomly, and I was like, when they were talking about the TikTok ban, and I was like, there's a part of me that's like, fuck it, ban TikTok. Burn it all down. Like, burn, like, everything. Like, get rid of the vlogs, get rid of, like, everything. Just burn it all down and start from ground zero, because it's like the celebrity culture, the creator culture has gotten so fucking out of hand and so weird, and we've lost touch with just being humans, that it's like, yeah, it might just be time to just say, fuck it all. Like, it's time to just go full on rebellion, and I'm down for the cause. I'm like, hey, fuck it. Like I said, like, I'll go back to the warehouse. I'm fine with that. I don't give a fuck about any of this shit. Fucking burn it down, people. Block everybody. Block me. Block, like, let's just get rid of it all.
Yo, I respect that so much, and I think a lot of people listening are like, yeah, fuck it. Let's block these celebrities, because you're right. Like, we're seeing celebrity culture is starting to die anyways, and it's not just about what you're doing to entertain us, is who you are as a human, and are you actually using your platform for good? Like you said, people give you your platform, so in a way, you're kind of like, you got to still be their voice as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, and that's my problem with a lot of fucking, and I feel like I'm just shitting on my peers and people I fucking know, but fuck it. At the end of the day, it's like, you only have what you have because of the people that watch your shit. And I say this all the fucking time to even my own followers and just people that are consumers in general. It's like, people only have as much power as you fucking give them, right? Yeah. Like, it goes with everything in the fucking world. Like, and this is coming from someone, I play sports, I fucking love sports. But how fucking insane is it that it costs tens of thousands of dollars to sit courtside to watch a bunch of millionaires put an orange ball into a hoop? But the reason it costs so much, and the reason is because of demand, is because so many people want to watch that thing. So many people see that thing, so it's going to cost a lot of money, and these people are going to make more money than teachers and doctors because us as consumers consume that content at a mass rate. The power is in us. The minute we all stop watching the NBA, it's like the same thing with the WNBA. The reason the WNBA doesn't make as much money in the NBA because people don't watch the WNBA, right? If you don't watch the NBA, it starts making less money. If you don't consume someone's content, if you don't follow someone, they lose their power. Yeah, if you stop watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians, if you stop buying Kylie's makeup, if you stop buying all these things, they begin to lose power. Jeff Bezos only has power because of we love convenience and we purchase from Amazon. That's us. That's the consumer. That's the people. We're responsible for this shit, and we can take it away as quickly as we fucking want to. But it just takes all of us to do it. Like, so it's like, I tell people all the time, like, you don't realize how much fucking power you have. Absolutely. These influencers, these creators, these athletes, these celebrities, they don't have any fucking power. These musicians, like, you're only popping because we all listen to your fucking music. That's all it is. It's us. It's not you. So why aren't you doing anything for us? It's you are who you are because of us.
It's a good
and recognize that shit.
It's definitely a good reminder for anyone who is listening. It's like, yo, you have the power. But at the same time, for any influencer or celebrity who might be tuning in, you still have a platform that you can use it. And it's not just about like trying to just please your followers, but it's also, like you said, it's being a human being. Because a lot of times, like I saw one content creator, she's like, I'm not political, and I can't speak about this issue because I don't know it well enough, and I let other people speak out about the subject. My question to you is, what do we tell these people who are saying, I'm not political? What do we tell these content creators and influencers who are saying, I don't want to get involved in this, and I don't want to be, controversial? What do you want to tell these people?
Educate yourselves.
Educate yourself.
It's no different than you having a conversation with someone and someone's like, "Oh, have you ever seen this movie?" No, I haven't. What do? You go online and you look up like, "Oh, what's this movie about?" "Oh, it's about this. What?" There you go, right there. Like I don't understand what's going on in the world. There's thousands upon thousands of resources you can go to learn about what's going on. Like I know what it's like to be an influencer. I know how much research that you've done on the algorithm to learn how to play the algorithm, to learn what trends are going on. I know for a fact if you're on I'm on the same FYP that you're on. I know that you see these Palestine posts. I know you can click not interested. I know you're scrolling past. I know you're not watching shit because I watch that shit. My entire FYP is shit that's going on in Gaza. Is people talking about this fucking protest because that's the shit I'm seeing. That's what I'm choosing to fucking see.
Yeah.
If you choose not to see that, that's on you. You can't. The ignorance doesn't work anymore. The fact of saying I'm uneducated, I'm going to let other people. Okay, you're going to let other people talk about this. Then guide your followers to who they can go to, who they can follow to learn that shit. There's so many ways to help out in the smallest fucking bit, and to be like, oh, I don't want to get involved. So you don't want to just share a donation link to a family if someone wants to help. You have 10 million followers. If 1%. Less than 1% of your following helps his family, it will save them. And you don't want to share that because you don't want to get involved. Fuck you. I hope everyone fucking blocks you.
Fuck yeah. I like that. And I like a lot of things you said. Number one is if you don't want to talk about it, then at least direct people to who they can listen to. And I think amplifying those voices is honestly, I would say even equally as important as well. And then the second thing is like, you still have that platform. You can still just put a donation link and just find a way to contribute to some sort. And then the third thing you said is that there are so many resources out there. We cannot use the excuse that I don't know. If you wanted to, you could.
Exactly.
Right? And at the flip side, we are seeing a lot of celebrities. Shout out to Kalani, shout out to Anis, and our boy Macklemore, who are using their platform. We are seeing a lot of people using their platform for good. Macklemore released the song Hind's Hall a couple of days ago. How did you feel listening to that song?
I felt the same way listening to that song, the same way I feel like, because I grew up on rock music, and again, like I said at the beginning, like I was raised on Rage Against the Machine. And that was like the most Rage Against the Machine thing that you can do, is just say fuck the system, fuck oppression, fuck the police, and just make a song like that. And I think that was important at a time like this, when, like you said, like our eyes get so diverted. And I think, you know, even myself, for like, I remember last week when the Kendrick and Drake beef was going on, I was like, you know, like a lot of people, we were all locked in, like, oh shit, like Drake and Kendrick are beefing. And then Macklemore drops that song, and he literally says in the song, like, I want a ceasefire, fuck a response from Drake. And then you kind of like check out of, you know, the simulation for a bit, and you're like, actually, yeah, what am I? All Drake does is just shit on me as a fucking middle class individual. You know what I mean? Like, I'm listening to these two rappers just rap about like, oh no, like I'm better than you, I'm richer than you, I slept with your girl, and it's like, and then Macklemore's like, guys, people are dying. And it's like, oh fuck, you know what I mean? So I think that was an important song for history in general.
For history, absolutely, because you're right. Like, we're tuning into two millionaires who are just rapping about God knows what, and then you have Macklemore releases a song that's so powerful, and it's reminding us like, hey, all eyes on Rahaf.
Yeah.
Right? All eyes on Gaza right now. This is what we need to start focusing on. And it's been over 7 months, and it's not getting better. And as much as we think that we are not complicit in what's happening, our governments are, right? This is where our tax dollars are going. And I want to now go into talking more about just the protests, because I know after this you said you're going to go to the protest, and you've been in these encampments for the past couple of days, or since they've started. And I wanted to just first and foremost ask you, what has been your experience like going to these protests?
It's been, trying to find the best word. It's been like energizing in a sense of just seeing so many people come together for one common goal, and everyone has been, and obviously everyone is fighting, but there's like this sense of just like everyone's fighting, and there is this sort of, you know, anger and sadness, because it's like, yeah, there are people dying, and nothing's changing, but there's also this overwhelming sense of community and kindness of, you know, you're at these protests and you'll be walking and someone will come over with bread or water, you know, and be like, hey, are you hungry? Do you want a snack? Do you want this? Are you okay? And it's like just a community. And even at the encampments, it's like, I saw online, someone messaged me yesterday, because I've been posting about it, was like, you know, I don't feel safe on these campuses with this encampment there. And I was like, I've spent the past 3 days there. Anybody can go in. As soon as I walked in, they fed me. They gave me food. They spoke to me. They're playing soccer. Like, this doesn't feel threatening in the slightest. This is like the most peaceful, most wholesome environment that I've had since I've been here in Toronto. You know what I mean? Like, even I sat down with these students, and like I was like so blown away by just that like the conversation that they were having, and how privileged I felt just having the life I've lived, where, you know, they're Palestinian, and they're talking to each other, and they're like, what are you going to do when Palestine is free? You know? And they're talking about going back and, you know, I mean, getting to experience Palestine and getting to experience where they came from in their home. And I'm like, yeah, like I want that for you too. You know, like there are these kids that have no idea. All they know is genocide and war from where they're from, and they had to escape it, and they just want to go back home. Like,
yeah, and simple as that.
Simple as that. You know what I mean? They just, you know, free Palestine just means like, I just want human rights. You know what I mean? I just want autonomy over where I came from, you know? I just want to be a human. That's what that means, you know?
I just want to be a human.
It's so fucking simple.
It really is. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
And in these protests, there's a lot of controversy when we're now seeing politicians say free Palestine. This is what free Palestine means. When you're saying free Palestine, what do you mean?
It just, humanity, just free Palestine means just basic human rights.
Basic human
rights. I mean, it's something, you know, and I've obviously I don't know everything, but everything I've learned, I've been able to educate myself on just by listening is like, this is something that's been going on for over 70 years, you know? I think, I think it's Wednesday is, I believe it's Nakba. And it's this, and that's what this rally is about, is the 76th Nakba Day. And it's like, that's 76 years of just oppression, you know what I mean, that they're fighting against. And I think that to say free Palestine and to be pro-Palestine doesn't mean that you're anti-Semitic. It doesn't mean that you hate anyone. It just means you don't want people to be oppressed. You just want people to be able to go home. You just you want people to not have to die anymore. It's as simple as that. So,
And beautifully said. It is just as simple as that. We want collective liberation.
yeah.
When we're saying free Palestine, it's free Congo, free Sudan, free Tibet, free Lebanon. It's collective liberation. And at the end of the day, it's all about creating a world that is just. And as Martin Luther King said, in an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere.
Exactly.
And so we want to tear down the apartheid. We want to tear down systematic discrimination, racism, all of that. And on that note, I want to just conclude by thanking you. Thank you so much, Dom, for everything you do, for everything you stand for. And I hope everybody listening to this episode today is taking away a few important key points. Number one, you got to speak up. You can't use the excuse anymore that you're not educated enough or you don't want to be political enough to talk about what's happening. Number two is if you want to learn more about the subject, there are so many different resources out there. And on that note, I want to just end it with one last question for you. And that is, what is a piece of advice you'd like to leave the listeners with about Palestine, about wanting to learn about Palestine or advocating for Palestine?
I think just to remember how important every single person is. I think a lot can be misconstrued of like, what can I do? What can I accomplish? And it's like, I think it's important to not tell yourself like, oh, what can I do? I think it's important to just, if you want to help, if you want to advocate, is to like make a small goal in your head of like, okay, I can give $1 to 5 families. And I think if everyone realizes that, it's like that goes a long way. Like those small donations accumulate. So it's like if you want to help, it's as simple as like setting a goal for yourself and just being like, okay, if every single person just donates $1 to 5 different families and repost a couple stories on their social media or just talks to one other person about what's going on, it's like that domino effect is crazy. So it's like you have to remember like not one person can change the world, but every single person can change the world if we all work together, and yeah, and to my peers and to people that are creators that do have somewhat of influences, have somewhat of influence, stop being a billboard and just be a human. Just stop thinking politically, stop thinking, who am I going to upset? Who am I going to do this? And start thinking, what if you were on the other side of the world and your family was being bombed and you had to evacuate your country and you knew on the other side of the world that nobody gave a fuck, how would you feel? How would you feel if the roles were reversed? And you were dying and someone across the ocean was saying, what can I do? And just started TikTok dancing and shit. That would be insane. And
It would.
What I've learned, and that the people overseas, just the same as we know what's going on over there, they know what's going on over here. There is a line of communication. And when I was at the encampment, this girl was reading this message from her family that was in Gaza that told the students at the encampment to stay strong. And they're giving them hope. So I think it's just important to remember that, at the end of the day, like, we're all humans. We're all we all face some sort of oppression to some degree, whether it be, you know, working a 9 to 5, or which is a luxury, but it's like everyone at some point in history, people have gone through oppression, and this is a form of oppression. This is a genocide. This is wrong. We can't turn a blind eye to it anymore. And it's like one group that's being oppressed, if we can help them, that's a win for every single group, you know.
Absolutely.
Helping the Palestinians doesn't mean not to help the Congo, doesn't mean not to help black people, doesn't single out that group. It means like liberation for all. Like if we can help this group, then that means we can help this group, that we can help this group, and it just takes all of us working as one. Sorry for ranting, but
That was beautifully said, Dom. Thank you very much. And I couldn't agree more. It's all about collective liberation. It's like, as my sweater says from the Slow Factory, it's all about freeing everything, and everything is interconnected.
yeah.
On that note, I just want to thank you once again. Dom, it really is an honor to have you here. Not a lot of people would come and talk about like speaking out and also pressuring other influencers and celebrities to speak up. So thank you so much for everything you do and for everything you stand for. And I want to just remind everyone who is listening some of one last message, and I think this echoes what Dom is saying, is start speaking up. You can go a long way just sharing social media posts, donating. There's so many different donations. Find a reputable source. I know the Slow Factory has a few links up that are vetted. Do you have any other recommendations, guides, or any sources or that people can look at?
Yeah, on any of my platforms, any of my social media, the link in my bio has resources to not only educate yourself, not only to donate and help out, but it also has links to other influences and other creators and journalists that are more well informed, and other accounts that are on the grounds, that are in Gaza, that have hands on like medical aid Palestine, or Doctors Without Borders, and I think that helps you give a even better insight into what's going on. And the last thing I just want to bring up real quick is, because I'm like an anime nerd, and I just want to relate this back to anime, just because I've been watching this anime. It's very important. It's about this guy who is a Viking. It's called Vinland Saga. He grew up a Viking, and he was a part of this group that would, you know, pillage all these villages, and grew up mass murdering, and he becomes a slave and learns pacifism and learns what it means to be a true warrior. And to be a true warrior means that you don't need a weapon, because at the end of the day, you don't have any enemies. And there's a scene where he wants to talk to the king, and he says, if I could take 100 punches from your greatest warrior and I'm still standing, you have to let me talk to your king. And he takes those 100 punches, and everyone asks him why he's doing that, and he goes, this is a war between this king, and we're just these pawns. I'm not your enemy. I don't know you. You're not my enemy. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, we don't know each other. Why are we fighting? You're not my enemy. I have no enemies. And that was something that I watched that kind of changed, as stupid as it sounds, my opinions on social media and reality TV, where it's a world that's so based around drama and gossip and clout and chasing. It made me look at it as someone who I already wasn't really involved, but it just made me look at like, yeah, I don't have any enemy. I don't have any, like, I don't know you. You don't really know me. Mm-hmm. So why are you angry at me? Why am I angry at you? The people in my comments, why are you angry? We don't know each other. And it just made me realize, like, I have no enemies. And I think that's important for everyone to remember, of like, you know, these conflicting groups and ideologies of like, we don't truly know each other. Like, you think this way, I think this way, but we don't know each other. Like, why do you think that way? It's important to have a conversation and be like, why are you angry? Why am I angry? And coming to a common ground of like, you're not my enemy. You're just a fellow human that's gone through some shit. And I'm somebody who's gone through some shit. And I think if we can all come together, and I know that sounds so fucking cliche, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's just about always remember throughout all this oppression to always spread love and kindness. And I think that's another thing I've learned from these protests and these encampments is like, at the end of the day, even though these people are fighting for liberation, they do it with so much kindness and so much love. And I think that's an important reminder that, you know, that everyone can take away from what I'm trying to say today, is that if you're a human, like, you have no enemies, you don't know these people, remember, if you want to make a change, you have to do it with love, because by doing it through hate is only going to keep the cycle going.
I love that. We don't have any enemies, because really, like, what does enemy even really mean?
Yeah.
And then everything should still come from a point of compassion, of kindness, and empathy.
Yeah.
That was very well articulated, Dom. And I can't thank you enough for coming on Yellow Let's Talk today. And I hope the people who are listening are going to take so many things, I know they will, from this episode. So thank you again and again for everything you do and everything you stand for. And on that note, Yalla, bye.